Welcome back. We are gearing up for PGG versus AV. But before that, more Nick back. At Brent Jones says, having just finished moving for the 8th time in 8 years, is on my mind, what's the longest you have waited to unpack or set up your bed? And do you have any moving horror stories?
Okay, I have one moving horror story. Actually, I have two, but I'll go with my first one. So, the first time I ever moved out of home, I moved into a little apartment in Chapel Street, Melbourne. Yep. It was beautiful. It was the first time Jenna and I were going to live together, and it's like 40 minutes away from where we grew up, right? Yep. So, like both of our houses, our parents' houses. So we get there and we go to IKEA, as you do the first time you move into a house.
Everyone does.
And we just bought a shitload of IKEA. Like everything was going to be from IKEA, apart from the bed. So we wanted a futon bed because I like to sleep low to the ground. So we go get this, we go find this futon place, and we're like, okay, cool. We're going to stay there the first night, and then we're going to go get our futon the next day, right? So we put like a blanket on the ground, and we just sleep on the ground. The next day, IKEA stuff just starts arriving, Nick. Like, it's just everywhere. And I didn't know, and I guess I should have thought of this, that they just don't take the packaging when they drop it off.
Yeah.
Like, I like when, if you use like appliances online, they like drop off your washing machine, but then they take your old washing machine, and they also take the boxes and stuff. IKEA just leave you with everything.
Yeah.
And so it's like 11 o'clock, I've slept on the floor, I've like had no sleep, all this stuff starts arriving, Jenna goes to work, and I'm supposed to put everything together, but I just didn't have any tools. So I'm walking around like the whole of St Kilda trying to find tools and stuff. And it got to the point where like it was just definitely not a one-person job to build like a couch, a dinner table, a day bed, like all these things. So I just pulled out the box from the box that the fridges came on, and I got a blanket. And I just slept on the box because it was the most comfortable thing available until Jenna got home.
So that was like
I was just like a broken man.
That's so good.
I just slept on the softer thing in the house, which was a box.
Because it is true that when you order IKEA, because I remember that first.
I was just so overwhelmed.
You can't, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do all this, but everything comes in pieces.
Yeah.
Like even the forks is just like a stick that you need to twist 4 prongs onto. It's so frustrating. What about you guys?
I don't think, to answer the first part of the question, the longest I've waited to unpack was a few months. And the reason I did that is because I was constantly traveling. And I just hit a point where I was like, screw it. Like, why would I unpack this part of my life? Why can't I just arrange it neatly in the suitcase? And so I optimized the moving device.
Yeah, that's nice.
I got a few months in, I was like, I feel like I don't know what a home is if I keep doing this. And like hit that like breaking point. I was like, unpack it.
Just break.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an example from past being when I was in New Zealand, but nothing really springs to mind. I do know from here at least, I've not unpacked anything except my bed and my computer. Like that's all I care about.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have other stuff here?
I've got like, memories, photos.
Memories.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I bought some memories with
I
me
haven't
in
even
a
unpacked
suitcase.
my memories
you know,
yet.
I got all that nostalgic stuff you put on those like little balls,
yeah.
and then you look at it and be like, wow, look what I did in 2012. I got all that stuff, and I've just chucked it under the bed, mate.
Sunday meditation.
I ain't got time for that. I've got to play League of Legends every day, so I know what I'm talking about.
That's very funny.
Grief me,
Movie
meme.
guys like, what's this? This is really light. Oh, that's just.
I did
People
just
are
get
like,
my
what's
stuff.
that under your bed? And then
I moved house when I was a kid. I moved house 16 times in 18 years. So
Holy
that's a lot.
yeah. So there you go. So I moved a lot. The worst move was. It's not actually the move that was bad. One of our houses burnt down. Well, it didn't burn down, but like burnt out. I guess there was a spark from an iron that had been left plugged in but not turned on, and it went into the laundry hamper, and then it went up, and then blah blah. Anyway, so I think I was like 10, and my mum comes and picks me up from school, which is weird in the first place because normally I was catching the bus home. Mum's there, and I walk down, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" She just holds me by the shoulders, and like you would think that Mum would like break this to me gently. She just goes, "Sweetie, the house burnt down." I was just like, as a 10-year-old, I'm like, my memories. But then I was like, okay, well, this is terrible. And then I was sort of scratching the back of my neck, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I kept scratching. She's like, why are you scratching? I go, oh, I don't know, I'm just really itchy here. And she looks back at me. She goes, you have chickenpox. And so so then because the insurance company like covered the interim while we got a new place, we went and stayed in a hotel. So we're living in a hotel. There's a pool. There's all sorts of fun stuff. I can't do any of it. I have to sit in that pine bath shit for like 3-4 weeks because I'm riddled with disease.
Had your parents had chickenpox?
Yeah, they were fine. My sister hadn't had them, but she didn't catch them for some reason.
I remember I gave my dad chickenpox.
That's bad.
And he was
really
pissed.
risky.
He was super pissed.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was at that point the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
My house burnt down and
Shingles?
I got chickenpox. Since then, there have been many, many more worse
No, I don't
days.
think that's related. Is shingles a re-emergence of chickenpox due to stress and anxiety in adults?
Oh, could
Can
be.
you Google that for me?
That feels right.
What is shingles?
What is shingles? I feel
You're
like
I've got this like feeling.
that's enough for me to say. Shingles is a viral infection that causes a painful rash. It's caused by the varicella zoster virus, the same virus that causes chickenpox.
Boom.
After you've had chickenpox, the virus lies inactive in nerve tissue near your spinal cord and brain. Years later, the virus may reactivate as shingles.
Because I get
Also
really
known
bad.
as herpes zoster. And here's some pictures.
I get really, really bad anxiety and stress. And when I was getting anxiety and stress one time, I kept getting this rash on my side.
Yep.
And they were really worried I had shingles. And apparently shingles is like excruciating. It's like a 9 out of 10 on the pain scale.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
As in like you can't move?
Like
or-
as in like you feel like your skin is on fire and you have to be drugged out of your mind so
Wow.
you can actually,
That's terrible.
live.
Wow.
Lady Dubsy got chickenpox twice, and Disco33 says, start the next game already. I will, once you tell me whether or not you have had shingles. All right, next question. At the Melbourne AU...
There's a 16-minute turnaround between games. It's standard for every Riot region.
I don't understand. Who are these people who are like, just back-to-back games is the expectation? We're doing it as fast as you can. These young boys have small legs. There's a lot of stairs in this building. Got to unplug mice, because they're all precious about which mice they use. All right, the Melbourne AU. Have you ever struggled with confidence? And if so, how'd you overcome it?
Yes, I was fat. My brothers used to call me Duck Bum. I had red glasses. I had to wear a pirate patch over my eye because my other eye was really, really weak, so they tried to strengthen it. I didn't have a lot of friends.
He just stole the show off that, mate.
Why are you laughing at me?
Because you got duck bum and you had an eye patch. Oh my God.
Yeah, so how did I overcome this? You know what? I don't know.
That is...
The odds were really stacked against me.
I'll never say anything mean about you again.
Did fighting genuinely help?
Yeah,
with confidence?
so the-
I'm
so-
sure that's like in part a serious answer. though,
Yeah,
right?
so I started Taekwondo and I got really, really good at fighting, like incredibly good at fighting, and then no one could pick on me anymore.
Yeah, right.
And then I got confidence because no one would pick on me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because if people did pick on me, I would do stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing a lot of honks in chat right now. You guys?
I mean, always. I don't know how you overcome it though. I feel like for me is like it depends on what it is and how I overcame it. So as an example, I wasn't confident in school because my study was struggling, and so I overcame it by making friends with someone who was was more capable. So like, there's solutions, but I think it depends on the thing. But like always, literally always.
I'm a ball of anxiety. I don't sleep or anything. Like, I always say this, but like people assume when they meet me in real life that like I'm the dude that I am on camera.
Yeah.
And I am not this dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm like completely opposite. I'm like, so this actually, I don't know if maybe you're the same. This actually takes like a ton of energy to do.
Oh,
And then I go
mean-
home and I'm exhausted.
I had this complex of streaming though, do you know what I mean? Like where, you're this hype man on camera and then you're thinking maybe if I stream, people are going to expect that. But like when I'm home, I just want to lounge out. Like I just don't want to do anything. I just want to just chill.
The self-confidence thing, yeah, all the time. A couple of things. One, the self-confidence, mainly you're judging yourself against other people's expectations and against their standards. And a lot of the time, the things that you're not self-confident about aren't necessarily things that hold a lot of intrinsic value to really the things that make you happy. Most people are self-conscious about the way that they look or the way that they sound or their personality or something. And those things just generally aren't important in the grand scheme of things. You probably have a perfectly fine personality and you've got friends and people like hanging out with you, you just don't need to worry about the fact that like you don't look like Brad Pitt. Most people don't look like Brad Pitt, and really, Brad Pitt's not going to look like Brad Pitt forever. He's going to get weird and old and saggy, and it's already happening, and it doesn't matter.
I will add as a final tidbit, like I still get nervous before every broadcast. You know, you know the full cycle of what's going to happen, and I think you have to find something that you're quite passionate about, and you can almost like fake it. You know how people always talk about fake it till you make it, yada, yada, yada.
For sure, yeah.
So, you know, I can definitely get quite nervous before broadcast, but once I'm doing something that I enjoy, which is, you know, watching the game and getting to talk about it, suddenly that confidence, that passion overrides the stress.
I don't think it's just faking it though, right? Like I think that the term fake it till you make it has extra connotations in it. Like believing that you can do it is a part of the faking it, or like just knowing, or like saying, like you said, different.
Exactly. The context behind it.
Yeah.
But I think it's like you've got to find a separate passion, because I think too many people can, in a sense, just like drift through, and then you just get baited into social media scrolling. And going, they have the perfect life, and it's very toxic.
Social media has killed humankind.
Yeah, it's the worst. Like literally, just stop looking at social media, and you'll improve your happiness by 30%. We're about to jump into the next game, and the final thing that I say is that literally everyone is riddled with self-confidence issues. So no one is happy like entirely with themselves.
Apart from me,
everyone
I've completely
everyone is freaking out and insecure. So just remember that every time you go into a meeting, every time you meet someone new, just go, you are just like, they are just as screwed up as I am, and they're just hiding it. So you can either hide it as well, or do what I do and just like point out all your own insecurities, and then you make yourself vulnerable, and everyone else is like, oh, cool, he's fine to be around because like he just told me all about the weird thing that he has in his pants. All right, it's time to move on to game number 3. Woo, boy! Can't believe I just shared that. Gravitas. No, it's not even Gravitas versus Direwolves. AV versus PGG. AV versus PGG.
Yeah, this is for the Not That Bad title.
This is the one.
So if PGG lose to Avant Gaming right now, PGG go to Not That Bad, and Avant Gaming go to Good. If Avant Gaming lose to PGG's, then Avant Gaming's still Not That Bad, and PGG's Good.
A lot on stake.
Oh, there's a lot on stake.
There's
a lot on stake, and it's very complicated. Let's take a look at the lineup for PGG, please. Jake.
It's going to be the Smiling Assassin, Fire Panther in the top lane, only plays tanks. Don't know why I call him the Smiling Assassin anymore. Yaxuli in the jungle. It's going to be Get Back in the mid lane. Praethan Rogue, your bottom lane. That's a Pantheon support connoisseur. And the Western lane is their coach.
They love some weird stuff, don't they, in terms of draft?
Yeah, this team's a funky, funky team. And like, I think a lot of it is driven by like the mad scientist that is Western Way, and kind of like the fact that Rogue likes to play stupid shit sometimes.
Let's take a look at the team that this stupid shit might be coming up against. It is AV Rusty.
It's Draker in the top lane, Lisa jungle, Chaz is your mid laner, Guncrab is going to be the starting AD carry today, so still no Violet.
Where my boy Solo Q Ultraviolet extraordinaire?
What did he ever do to anyone?
Yeah, he's missing today and happy to support with Coach Max behind them. And like you mentioned, no Violet. Very surprising given that they have been alternating and cycling those ADCs.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of said this, but like, if you're not going to play him in these games, I feel like you really are just setting up that Guncrab is your main AD carry, and like that's probably what you're going to be playing throughout playoffs. I think that this game for Avant is super important. Yep. If they win this game, they're tied with Order, I believe, but don't have head-to-head. And you know, that's incredible for a team that we thought was going to really struggle coming into this season.
It'll turn out they're not that bad after all. All right, it's time for game number 3. It's AV versus PGG, and it's coming at you right after this.
No.
Well, let's kick it off with the third game of the day. Penanet.gg taking on Avant Gaming. There are titles on the line. There are compliments on the line. There's a bit of banter between both of these teams to get themselves out of the middle of this table here, Spawn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, as I said, this is the battle for the Not That Bad title. Pentanet.gg right now are looking to continue their climb up the ranks. However, Avant Gaming's surprise factor. They've won a couple of games with Ultraviolet. Lisa has had some good performances, but then some very bad performances. Skimdog. And once again, they give over Yaxuli's Gragas, that kind of takes the Lee Sin off the board. We had this conversation, I think, last time these exact teams played, that you do not want to play Lee Sin into Gragas typically, and then Lisa didn't, and I think he lost.
I'm seeing some actually really positive stuff coming out of Avant Gaming so far. Last time Chaz played Lucian, he ran away with the game, finishing 9-2-3. They banned away the Pantheon, date your mind back, and Pentanet.gg ran a Shen top lane with a Pantheon mid and teleport on top of that. They tried to play it as hard-forced macro pressure.
Ah, yeah, I remember that game.
And it didn't quite work out. So it was an experiment that had some idea behind it, but Avant Gaming were just able to just force those fights and come out convincingly.
Yeah, absolutely right. Nah, Lisa doesn't take the Lee Sin. He takes the Elise, the counter pick, into the Gragas. And then we have Zyra Khan, Lovershua's bottom lane. This lane, if you remove kind of Aphelios and, you know, maybe Yuumi as support, is one of the most heavily lane-dominant lanes. It does become a mid to late game powerhouse. They're the best team fighting bottom lane IMO. So a lot of team fight going on right now for Pentanet, and very interesting that we've got the opposite sides being drafted, Skimmy. We've got a bottom side of the map being drafted right now for Pentanet, and then I assume the complete top side being taken away for Avant.
You'd have to imagine so, with what they're displaying at the moment. Pentanet obviously denying away two crucial supporting champions. We've seen what Yuumi and Soraka can do. Possibly Pentanet being quite happy not to have to deal with that. Biopanther showing how dirty and disgusting Soraka can be with those top-ups, especially when Rogue drops down to 10 health and going golden. But Aatrox and Yasuo are denied by Avant Gaming, limiting Get Back, who, as you can see on the screen, umming and ahhing there with Western Way as to where they want to go with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Western Way is one of those coaches that does have some creativity. And his solo laners are fairly flexible. You know, we talked about the fact that Biopanther mainly plays those tanks. We spoke to Thien earlier, and he said that whilst the buff came through, he didn't think it was impactful enough to bring them back. But if anyone was going to, right, it would be Biopanther or maybe Swiper. So we'll see whether, you know, there is something like a Zac top or a Maokai top. Mundo have all been running around solo queue. And really interesting that Avant have left Appy with counter pick here.
We haven't seen it commonly coming out of Avant in their drafts. They've usually left it to the likes of Chaz or Lisa.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me, Skimmy, because when you have a think about what supports they're going to be playing, could be a Bard, potentially, that sometimes is left to counterpick, depending on what the solo laners are. Huh, alright. I'm intrigued.
15 seconds left on the clock to round out this composition for Pentanet.gg. Tickle your curiosity to see what they've delivered to make a comeback in this head-to-head.
See Mages generally beat. Oh, that would be cool.
Biopanther, I've actually seen him practice this champion a few times. You see the fist bump come out there between him and Sully. Sully was actually playing the Lee Sin. Their communication was pretty on point along the lines of, can I dive, can I do this? And Biopanther being ever the cool cucumber. Yeah, let's do it. So this is quite exciting to see a transition from practice to stage.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm very interested in this because I think that Seth should be able to free farm this lane. I don't think Bio is going to be able to pressure him all that heavily. And what we have seen typically at the moment is AP Singe to pick up. So this is a fairly squishy lineup from Pentanet.gg then, because I'm expecting Rylai's into Burning Face, Leandry's Torment, and then maybe some tankiness after that really does favor the AP build. And whereas on the side up of Avant, you have like more traditional double bruiser comp with Leona as well as Set. Good team fight coming out of the double ADs. Maybe lacks a little bit of magic damage. That's going to be Lisa's primary job. But I feel like this is one of those games where early advantages will mean a lot, just because I feel like both the comps can be at times quite linear in their approach to the game.
It definitely feels like we're almost playing Pokemon away, fire versus ice. We've got magic versus attack damage. Western Way, welcome to the broadcast as always. Talk me through this Singe pick first and foremost.
I mean, Biopanther just quite likes it into the set, and we thought it was quite good to our comp here as well.
And I've been saying that you guys have like some of the more creative ways to approach the game. Obviously, you pulled one of them out yesterday against Direwolves and had an absolute slugfest. Is it difficult when you show one of those comps that you've been cooking up for so long and unfortunately pick up a loss and then have to feel like, you know, potentially that was the one chance you get to use it on the OPL stage because now teams know about it and might start banning it?
No, because I think when we play a composition, it's sure, like, we're going to be learning some of the nuances of playing that comp, but we're also going to be learning just a lot of general concepts about the game, right? You know, if we play a very aggressive Taliyah Pantheon composition, then we're going to learn a lot about how we can play aggressively in the early game. So we pick up a lot of general concepts as well as just composition-specific ones.
All right, cool. And now you guys are going against historically what has been seen as like really strong on the current patch. Double bruiser, double 80 carries, you know, very good ganking jungler. What was the message to the guys in the early game to try and, you know, try and negate some of that power?
I mean, I think we're really confident in the player's ability to play the game if it goes late against like AV, Gravitas, Mammoth. So our kind of goal was just to pick a team fighting composition, just play standard, and as long as nothing crazy happens, we're really confident that we'll win the game.
And talking about the season like as a whole, right? Like, let's take a big step backwards for a second. We're nearly halfway through. This is going to be the 10th game that Pentanet.gg has played. You're going to be sitting, you know, at either 3, 7, 4, and 6 if this one goes well. How has it been? Because I feel like there was a lot of hype and excitement coming into the season for you guys. To be underneath, you know, 50% at this time of the season, definitely not ideal. But what's the mood in the camp like?
I think the mood in the camp is quite positive. I mean, our record is not that great, but I think we've played a lot of very close games. Like yesterday's game, I think we'd kind of done all the hard work for the win, and then we messed up just when it was coming up towards like that third dragon. And I think that, you know, for the Chiefs games as well, we played two very close games against them, which really could have gone either way. So I think the players recognize what the potential is, and we're all still pretty committed to our goal, which is, you know, to try and upset the season, you know. So yeah, I think everyone's just really thinking quite positively still.
And on one final note, where can we expect to really see the priority? Obviously, Sully very comfortable in the Scraggers, running the Predator. Are we going to see much attention shown here to Bio on that Singed, or are we looking to try and get the other members online quite easily?
I mean, I think Bio has options, like, no matter where he goes this game.
Beautiful. All right, Western, well, I'll leave you to it. Best of luck. And we'll see how the rematch between these two takes place in the middle of the league. Pentanet.gg going up against Avant for your third game of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really crucial to kind of understand the mentality behind these teams at the moment. Because as he mentioned, you know, so many close games within the OPL have unfortunately gone against Pentanet.gg. At the moment, and I think that they would still be positive that they can get their season back on track. OPL is a very long season, you know, you triple round robin style, so you do really play a lot of games. Chaz, nearly face check the side of the map that Sully's on. Why are you over here, Chaz? That's so, okay, so I want to talk about something really quickly that I think people at home probably don't know about. So when you have a look at Chaz, he's got topside pushing, he has jungler on Raptor Camp. He has complete control if he just plays the top side of the lane. Warding bottom side of the lane right there is just pure greed. You can just play top side of mid lane. You're never going to have to burn anything. His bottom lane's getting pushed in, and Gragas, they knew, started on blue buff, and he's going to be pathing down for that bottom scuttle crab. So I feel like he could have died there if the stun landed. And that would have kind of ruined Avant's early game plan, because obviously you need Chaz accelerated. Meanwhile, top side.
Top side is where the action's at. Summoners are used. Dragu gets himself online. It's Lisa that picks up that kill, and they're going to crash this wave in and potentially look at getting a turret play.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. He said like he likes this matchup into the set. I think this is kind of a sucky matchup, to be honest, for BioPanther. Historically, Shen has done really well against tanks that don't have any wave clear. Well, sets a Bruiser A with a ton of CC in his kit, right? He does a lot of damage. And then he has so much wave clear with the W max. You go W max into E, you don't even touch Q. I think Q was the ability that he was designed to max, and now he just maxes it last, so complete design failure there. So you just grab the creeps, group them up, and you can start using your W for wave clear, as Rusty mentioned, at like level 7 on this champion. So I think that this should be a free farm lane for Draku. And while Set doesn't scale like insanely, he should be treated like kind of an Ornn, or not a cannon, but, you know, an Ornn, a Maokai, something like that. Maybe even like a little bit Braum-esque in a fight. Like, he's just a heavy disruptor. And you can't ignore him because he does enough damage that it's going to be annoying. But you also can't blow everything into him because then he has that huge shield that comes out. So he can become quite annoying to teamfight around if he gets very accelerated. And right now, Draku is very accelerated.
Is it too far out of the question to say that the typical Singe proxying starts to become out of the question?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would have expected. I would have expected, like, especially with Elise, right? She doesn't want to start topside of jungle. She really does want to start on blue buff Gromp. So if I was player, I probably would have been proxying from level 1 this game, because the one weakness of Set obviously is he's not going to have great wave clear right now. It does take a couple of levels. So I was surprised that we didn't see proxying. Maybe thought they could set up for a gank or something like that with Sully. Sully's got a couple of cheeky jungle parts. Obviously ex-order player, so I know him quite well. But I think that was just read really well for Lisa. He kind of beat Sully back to topside and then executed a really good dive, and good on him for it.
Sully has got himself online with that first tier jungle item. Has the boots now, so Predator can be utilized. He's scanning around right now. As Chaz will deny that control ward in the shrub towards Rift Herald.
And that was kind of a waste of control ward, to be brutally honest, right? Because once Biopanther died, he's not really going to be able to get control over that wave back. And then this mid lane should be shoving for the Lucian, especially now that he's gone back on himself a second Doran's blade, right? He's just going to be able to sustain through majority of the damage that Get Back throws out. So I think that they should really be playing heavily around this Zyra Khan. And if I'm Sully, I'm trying to stack a couple of early dragons to get this mid game rolling and kind of get the soul point online as quickly as possible. You know, challenge those 26-minute soul point team fights that something like a Zyra Khan Syndra comp is going to really be able to, you know, blow them out of the water with. This is really nice pathing from Lisa.
Well, the river shrubs are controlled by Avant, and that allows him to easily set up that gank attempt onto mid. 2 ganks, 2 successes for Avant here.
Yeah, that's really nice. So what Lisa does there is he walks over his control ward, hugs the right wall. However, he is getting cut off right now. Needs to be careful. And that means that there's kind of false sense of security. Get Back feels like he's playing towards his side of the map that has control, which is bottom side. But Lisa just had a really nice hole punch play there. Dragku now uses this window of priority to maybe be able to take away a blue buff. Sully, however, is heading over there. And timing could be everything right now.
It really could be. He was holding mid for Get Back. Now he's going to start rotating. It's too little, too late. Literally seconds dictating that transition. He's going to get the fruit as well. So a blue buff, cooldown reduction, and a full health bar as he can return to top lane.
Okay, so you can see right now that Avant really are buying into this theory that, you know, Sully is a lot of the early game power that can come out of the Internet.gg lineup. So they're doing a lot to shut him down. You can see Ward in the bottom side, jungle control ward on the back of red buff. That's really nice for Raptors. And, you know, spotting paths down to the bottom lane. And then you have Dragku using all of his early game priority and all of his early game lead to not win his lane, but to go once again shut down the jungler. That is something that is very unique. And why I say, as a jungler, sometimes you just don't want to show. If someone on your team dies, the best thing you can actually do is not catch the farm, but just stay off vision and make sure that you don't give any more advantages away.
Only one control ward online that is finding use at this stage, and that's on that Rift Herald pit. The other vision for Pentanet so far is surrounding the entrance to Drake to try and get themselves online.
Okay,
They will scout at Lisa.
Look at this, they're doing 2 objectives at the same time. It looks like, no, actually, that was just Dragku clearing out the ward that you had mentioned. Dragon's going to reset. Spiderlings can be a little bit annoying in that aggro, but this should be first Infernal kicked off. And this is a disaster, Skimmy. Because I already kind of mentioned it, but if I was Sully, I would want to race to 6, got a cheeky gank off bottom lane, and tried to take some early dragons. Now that Lisa's got that rolling, I think this is going to be a very, very tough game, mid-game to navigate right now for PGG.
Like Avant were freezing bottom lane, slow pushing it as well, so they couldn't do anything there. Get Back was stuck underneath his tower, and Sully's is clearing camp's bot side. Unable to respond.
And the reason Sully feels like he can't respond right now is the old completed jungle item, man. You feel like as a jungler, if they have completed jungle item and you don't, you can never fight them. Which, you know, in a one-on-one situation, absolutely true. Like, you just don't want to run into the Elise at this stage of the game. She's up in farm, she's up in, you know, the itemization as well. But if you bring the Zyra and Rakan, no one's really going to be as strong as that level 6 combo right now. So I think that's kind of a little bit of a missed opportunity. You see, good setup now with an early switch coming out. Should mean that Pentanet now finally have some form of control over a neutral objective. They're bringing Bio up as well. I would expect them to start hitting, but they're not. They're actually going into full reset. So once again, it's just going to be a plate off what was a pretty nice macro move.
Not a bad move by any stretch of the imagination. Tying goal difference to being just 1K now, but there are 3 members of Avant hungry and waiting. Soon to be 4. As you've got the jungler and the top laner there. And they say that's okay, you can be the first ones to the top lane, but we have our entire team finding priority, finding the ability to just go towards this Rift Herald. BioPanther has to find a lot of love in his bottom lane to try and find any form of open advantage.
And the thing is that Cinch doesn't take turrets well. Like, he's a weird mage thingy that, like, well, I don't know what he does. He has poison. Lisa caught out, good flash. But he doesn't auto-attack. He's not an auto-attacker is what I was going to say. This isn't like leaving a set alone with the turret who's just going to break through those plates. So I think I like that play, you know. Let's use all 5 members, get Herald, just use Dragku's teleport. And now as long as there's no wards behind us in the topside jungle, which we can be pretty, you know, sure of if we are Avant right now, because we've had control of that area the whole game, then this teleport shouldn't mean all that much, although now Sully is heading up there.
Sully has planted that deep ward as you highlight. He's used the scanner to clear around. Doesn't have the stopwatch online just yet, but it's definitely getting nearer. Now has the completed item to match what Lisa has. Does have that Rift Herald in his possession, but had to burn Flash to prevent any kind of getaway. Stun does deny the double tap advantages that Lucian can find.
This has been a very strange game so far. So Avant have complete control over the neutrals. They've been able to pick themselves up with 2 kills. However, are down in the farm department.
Both junglers are hanging around mid lane right now. They sense something is awry.
It's going to be turret plate over to Chaz. And I wonder what lane deploys we get now. Whether this is the time for Pednet.gg to try and get themselves into a 1-3-1. Start side laning on this Syndra, try and get her a level mismatch. Like if it can be into Gunk Trap or something like that. With the Sork boots, definitely just full out one-shot potential going to be there. But it doesn't look like that's the case. They're going to swap their duo back into the bottom lane. I think, in my opinion, and you'll see this from order games, right? So not giving too much away. I think not deploying your duo lane mid is actually just outright an error at this stage of the game. And I'll explain why. Generally, if you have mid lane priority or mid lane push, you can get access to both sides of Summoner's Rift. And if you feel like you have a weak side matchup, you know, and in this situation, I would say if you have Syndra in a side lane versus Lucian, that's like an outright weak side matchup. Lucian does better in a long lane. You can kind of move your duo lane through your priority to protect that and, you know, get access to things like Raptor camps. And that's exactly what AV is doing at the moment. They're pushing in and they're getting access to this Raptor camp. That means that you can't dive the MF because they've got to quicker rotate down to the bottom lane, right? Even if you kill her, they're going to be able to clean up. That's going to be a turret going over for them. So I think that right now, the way Avant is set up means that Pentanet always has to be reactive. They cannot make a proactive play because otherwise, if it fails, they just use all their tempo or time or whatever you want to call it. And it can be really, really difficult for that play to be successful.
The opportunity cost becomes far too high. And the loss that comes as a result puts them further and further behind in this game. Turret plates will fall in 30 seconds. Gold difference still in the balance. No turret has fallen just yet.
And now this is interesting. I think what Lisa has deliberately done is held on to the Herald. He doesn't really care about plates. What he wants to use the Herald for, most likely, is to get mid lane shove on the Dragon Wave. So I expect them to hit this wave with like nearly everything they have and just immediately drop Herald. Then Pentanet has to make the choice. Do we want one crappy, you know, Ocean Drake, or do we actually want to be able to defend our mid lane turret? But Lisa hasn't dropped it yet.
He's hanging on to it.
Very close to expiring. Maybe he just forgot he had it.
You'd hope not at this stage.
Well, I don't have any other answers for you.
At this level, it would seem a little bit silly, but regardless, they're going to go for the Drake, the second one at their roster. Sully with a very adventurous little cast over the wall. As we get ourselves a Cloud Rift, now going to turn and hit the timing on point. They get the Drake. They're going to get a turret. But Pentanet, they do find 2 turrets, one in the bottom lane and one in the top, so they've opened up the map on that side. Leona wants to engage, bullet time comes across. Rakan does whatever he can to try and charm these members away, but they have one objective in mind, and that is sieging.
And that was so decisive right there from Avant, right? They see 2 members on side lanes, and once again, this is what I mean. You make your play, you get your 2 turrets, but ultimately they bust open the middle of the map. They take the kill as well. And now with the quicker reset timings coming out, they will once again be set up on the lane. And the further you can shove this mid lane in, the easier it is to make plays towards the side. I really like what Avant has done so far in this early game.
Pen for online now with 1 major item. Got the right eyes. Making it that much annoying when you follow him on his poison runs. Must be an absolute long distance champion, hey?
Yeah, I mean, rule number 1 of League of Legends,
monster.
Don't chase the Singed. That's always been the rule. And buy a sweeper against Teemo seems to be the second rule, if I learned anything from ARAM last night.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Oh. So close.
Very close. Rogue nearly denying that way from Chaz as they swap him out to the top lane now.
And now the interesting battle to me is like kind of what I was talking about yesterday. Is the one person on this PGG lineup that has like outright carry potential, you know, not just high utility value, is going to be Praetor.
Yeah.
And he, once again, finds himself like 1,000 gold up. More probably. He's got, you know, 1,300 gold. So he's 1,000 gold up exactly. I should have just stuck to my initial gut here, right? So can they take that next part whilst he has this advantage? Because you got to remember, he was a full Ginsu's up yesterday versus
Correct.
Vital.
And that was something we talked about how frustrated you were. They just weren't utilising that power spike.
And then they decided not to fight. And I know that Praetor is quite a vocal guy, right? So I assume he has something to do with those comms as well. But like, they have to be able to trade heavily right now, in my opinion, around their Xayah. Because, once again, they've given up complete topside control. That's going to be another Rift Herald going across. Lucian's hitting turrets. And if you can't dive this set successfully, like, this game might just be done.
The charm comes out. He's now grounded. He's now bodied. He's now just taking everything into this one. They need to get this. They're going to burn a flash if he lives. The opportunity cost.
He's dead. Goodbye.
Sully.
Oh!
Playing with fire.
Okay, so Sully does live, has to burn the flash, had the stopwatch available. If he could have been able to use that and then body slam out, maybe was an opportunity. But this is interesting because now Praetor has stuck around and he's the only member there. There's 2 members of Avant ready to cut him off.
They are hungry. Solar Flare lands, Featherstorm to respond. Gunkrab has nothing. He flashes away to try and survive in this one. Can he get the kill? He does! He actually picks up a kill in that solo exchange. And Appy's going to be the one that picks up the kill. Best case turnaround in that situation, given the odds against him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Appy didn't use the Ignite there. I feel like he might have been able to just dump everything and got away with the 1 for nothing, but held on to that. And I think I mentioned this yesterday as well, but we were talking about the benefits of like heal versus barrier.
Yeah.
And heal in lane is just like superior, right? It heals 2 people, allows you to skirmish more. But as the game progresses, barrier for 80 carries is just so much better. A, because Grievous Wounds doesn't impact it, like, so you always get the full value. But on top of that, it is just a much greater value compared to the heal, right? And I think that that's really what came out trumps here. You know, Praetor pops his barrier, Gunkrab uses his heal, barrier is more. Unfortunately, trades 1 for 1.
The effective health pool that it can supply, making your health pool seem just a little bit stronger, deceivingly so. It is still Avant in the driving seat now. And they've been the ones in command of these objectives, both Drake and Rift Heralds, but they've been doing a good job at stabilizing and matching the structural tower siege, if you will, that has been the game plan of Peninet up to this moment.
And I would like Peninet to fight on this trade. I think that if you give away Soul Point, you have to play the rest of the game near flawlessly. So I would expect them to really challenge hard for this mid lane wave, try and get top lane pushing a little bit as well, bring Get back down, and try and fight for this. I think the time for trading has kind of gone. And I said this, you know, a couple of times, but if you trade this Drake, you nearly have to like break the base or have like a game-winning play. But looks like they're just going to go for it.
Once again, all the resources are on this Soul member. We saw it happen in the previous game up against Chippy's set. They're doing it again onto Drake, he's got a Trinity Force online. He is a force to be reckoned with. He is level 12. But they're unable to find a desirable situation in which they can engage on. Lucian will just break open bottom for free. Lisa will pick up another Drake to give them that Soul Point equation. The rotation now forced to go for mid.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to give up mid lane tier 1 here, however. That's just a turret for a turret. And Dragon was picked up for Avant Gaming to make it Soul Point. And the focus gold went over just to Chaz Whereas the goal for mid lane turret was spread across multiple members, right? So once again, I feel like Avant is winning these trading scenarios, Skimmy. And I'm waiting to see, you know, how do PGG pull the trigger? Because their mode of execution is not as simple as, you know, just throwing out a solar flare, Draku flash ulting someone. Like, there are much easier ways to get the party started right now if you are of AV. This game starting to look a little bit desperate for PGG.
Looking at their last matchup, the last time these two teams played, Peninet never got a single Drake.
Okay, so this is a recurrent theme then. Avant just have a much higher priority on the objective.
They put all their eggs in the basket of taking down structures.
Yep.
So it seems to be the game plan for them right now. That was a 34-minute game then.
And I mean, they had a Karthus last time, right? To not get a Drake as Karthus?
Yeah, they had
That's bonkers, man.
a
Karthus
rough
is-
time. I mean, Karthus was diving bottom towers at like level 2, right, for plates. It was crazy.
Like, Karthus is such a strong Drake taker. Like, isolated damage on Skittles, once you've got that jungle item, he just flies through the objective. So that really surprises me that they went through the whole game. It's still a 1,500 gold lead. Obviously not insurmountable. 2 items now picked up for the Zyre as well, so in a really good position. But it just feels like the clock is on for this one.
They've navigated the early game. Not as bad as it may seem, but Avant have definitely commanded it for the first 20 minutes. They've definitely been the ones in the driving seats and making Peninet aware of such factor.
Well, they're 5 neutral objectives to 0 right now. Double Herald and 3 Dragons have gone to Avant Gaming, which is just a massive deal. Obviously, it's 4 turrets to 4 turrets, but when you're trading, you know, turret and dragon versus just turret. You know,
it's
turret
always
and Herald.
+1. That's
it was
what Avant
always
been finding.
And even in the cases where they weren't getting +1 neutral, they were getting +1 kill. That's why it's 2 to 4 kills, right? So I think overall, this has just been a really great game. Draku's in big trouble here.
We see our first interaction between what Singe can do up against the set. He's just juking this one out. He's having a good time. It's doing what Singe does best, and that is laugh his way to the bank. Sorty's going to rock up with the Predator cask and says, yo, give me that kill.
Why did Sully take that kill? I'm so confused, Skimmy. Surely you want this Singe.
It looked almost comical. He just he walks by, he's like, yoink, and just chucks it away.
However, that was quite equal in terms of team fight. Draku, you've really gone and done it, haven't you? Sterix is a really bad item. So Draku is against triple AP top side of the map and has not built any magic resistance. He is definitely a sinner.
Replace that with a more.
Or an adaptive helm,
Yep.
or like anything that, like a spirit visage, like give me anything that has some magic resistance. If he went adaptive helm this game, he would probably be unkillable. If he went adaptive helm into Stoneplate with that Trinity Force, no one would ever kill him on Summoner's Rift. He would live forever. An immortal.
Let's see if that is the unraveling of this game. Sorty receives a solar flare, but that is all he receives. And now you're seeing Peninet almost in the driving seat, if you will. They're down in mid lane, but they are getting flanked on from both the side. Through mids. Get back is in there, but he does have teleport online. He was trying to look to push out top lane. Getting dangerously close to their tower. And Baron is going to be the call. Avant want to fight. They want to start things up here.
Yeah, however, there is eyes right now on Avant Gaming, so they need to be very careful. Lisa is so low. And with only 45 seconds on Drake, they need to like recall right now and sprint down mid lane if they want their soul.
Predator was used by Saul. You can see the indicator online straight away going through the mid lane. Controlling the shrubs, cutting off all the entrance points. Bullet time used.
That was a really nice bullet time actually, because Predator takes most of his health and doesn't have insane lifesteal just yet. Obviously he's going to be running Legion's Bloodline, so you can see he's getting back 42 per auto attack. But now with an 80 carry at half health, jungle kind of at half health as well. This dragon is going to be very hotly contested.
Solar Flare is back online now. And look to start things off with asAz does not connect. Biopan from that back line. He's going to slam dunk himself onto multiple members. Dragku, if he had some magic resistance, may have lived to tell the tale, but he definitely preoccupied 4 members of Peninet. And now they are starting to run away with this one as Chaz comes on through with the gun, the cannon, the double kill.
Chaz?
Centro responds.
He got a triple kill there.
But now he just picks up the triple kill, the burn.
Okay, and that's going to be Dragon Soul going across. No jungle here. Singe goes in. He might be dead.
Singe doesn't have the ultimate, but he does have the flash. And Avant now have a lot of power online for this composition.
I mean, they're honestly taking over the game. That was really well navigated. They walked through the choke point, but it was the correct people. And what I said about Dragku, you know, remember, cast your eyes back to the start of the game where I was like, if this guy gets out of control, he can frontline a lot of what the damage is going to be. And let's have a look how this goes, right? Appy gets flipped into the team, but really you should be looking at Dragku because he takes Biopanther back out, drops him on top of 3 members, and then does like half of their health of 3 members by himself. He's just 1v4 the situation.
Yeah.
And because they're all so low, even though this is a 3v4, you know, you don't have Xayah coming back into the fight, and Chaz can just sprint forward. Ignite going to be burning, get back down. Triple kill picked up for the Lucian. He's now going to be unrivaled in terms of mid-game power. And honestly, Dragku playing a very nice set game.
Fantastic zoning control.
Even if his build is disgustingly bad.
But Chaz has to be the one for the consistency in this matchup. Like I said at the start of this game, he popped off last time running 9-2-3 on that Lucian, and definitely off to a good start here, sitting at 4-1 with a 1k bounty on his head.
Okay, now, Skimmy, we have to talk about another cardinal sin of League of Legends. If you're going to bait the Baron, you have to pink ward the Baron. Because right now... Oh, hold.
Lisa looks at a flash engage on the flank and to get back. He turns around, actually. He might just
again.
get a solo kill, but Praetor is going to find a kill onto Appy. Solely goes golden. Predator was used. Get back finds that kill as well. This could be a turning point right now. The bullet time gets interrupted. Rogue is going to look to try and get amongst it. And Praetor is now the saving hope, the beacon of light.
And how did they win that team fight? After we just talked about so many things going Avant's way, they actually sprint into Pentanet's control, and they lose a critical fight. Now with 5 members alive and well, this could be Baron going across.
Chaz, incredibly fed right now. Bear in mind, if he uses that culling, he gets a lot of mobility. Very easy to lay that down onto multiple members. He has to be careful though.
And that's just gone. You can't fight this anymore.
Dragku has no ultimate. He can't do anything on this one. They just come straight in. They get a shutdown. That's a lot of gold. And onto Praetor, most notably. The guy is fed beyond belief. We talk about him versus Gunkrab in this matchup before spawn. He is multiple items ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at this. So Praetor, really great use of the ultimate there to survive so much damage. The feathers go in the perfect direction. And you can see that Lisa is trying to keep Get Back out. The fact that Get Back gets his stun here means that Gunkrab now completely out of position. Dragku and Chaz shouldn't have looked to contest. Giving away that shutdown to the Xayah means that he's like a full 2 items ahead nearly. And this game going to become incredibly difficult now.
It's just completely swung on its head. We talk about how strong the early game was. Western Way mentioning that they just need to navigate themselves through. Soul point given away to Avant, all the objectives given away. But the first Baron is picked up here by Peninet. And they're going to utilize that aura buff on these minions to push them both mid and bottom. And look to open up an inhibitor here.
And so now if you're behind, how do you look for an engage? Appy needs to be really clean on this Leona. I said ease of execution certainly there for AV, but now with the Baron buff, it gets a hell of a lot harder to be able to pick the right fight.
Last few solar flares haven't hit their mark. Being very reliant on Dragku for that zoning. Slow, steady siege begins as the first inhibitor turret falls on down.
Second one's just going to be right behind it. You can see that they can't get in right now. They don't have the bullet time for the team fight, and Bio's just going to take mid lane.
Both exposed, one's down to half. Waiting for this next minion wave to come in. Appy is flanking on the side right now, looking for that engage. It's the Solar Flare onto Praetor, but the Feather Storm completely negates that one. A free cleanse, a free turnaround. It's the AD carry show. Lisa has no one, nowhere near him. 30 minutes. And Peninet going for double inhibitors.
I mean, they might just go for the game. That's going to be 30 seconds left available on Lisa. They're so healthy right now, Skimmy. 4 cannons available.
Sully baits out the tower. He uses the stopwatch. They just burn through Gun Crab. Draku doing whatever he can. There's just no follow-up damage. Everyone falls on down. It's the ace. It's the game. Peninet are very happy with that victory. And they're now good.
Absolutely. Peninet now good. Sitting equal 4th. Actually, outright 4th, I think, because they have the head-to-head over order. And this game looked like it was all Avant Gaming until one team fight into Baron, into end on that Baron. 30-minute victory. Decisive closeout from Pentanet.gg. But Avant did a lot of things right there. Just unlucky on one team fight.
Almost felt like a situation of perhaps overconfidence at Tau. They had been dictating the game. Members splitting apart, trying to catch out crucial components of this Pentanet roster. It didn't work. And that's League of Legends for you, how quickly the script can flip.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just League of Legends in a nutshell, right? We said the game's not built equally. You don't win one half and they win the second half, so it's a draw. You can win 25 minutes of a 30-minute game. If you lose the last 5 minutes, you lose. And once again, that is going to be the fate that Avant Gaming suffered. But Pentanet, I mean, they navigated, that mid-game really, really well. After giving up Soul, I think that they were able to hit that switch. They came into their own with some of their itemization and had a couple of really good back-to-back fights.
Praetor definitely able to utilize his strength this time around. Hugs come across between Sully and Chaz. And Pentanet will finish this win with a victory, finishing 1-1. Let's chuck it back now to the couch for the post-game interview.
That's an exciting turnaround for PGG.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of things in there that were very exciting. First of all, they're good, which means that Avant are not that bad.
There you go.
We got that right.
I got it wrong before we threw to the thing, but I can't keep up with who's good and who's not good and who's just okay and not that bad.
Well, there is officially now a not that bad team running around, and it's still AV. I believe they've retained that crowd. And yes, there was a couple of really interesting moments in that game, such as the singed pick. Unexpected, you would say, and it actually did pretty well for itself. It was handling the set of the opposing side of Draku, and they didn't build a lot of magic resistance.
Interesting.
Is my takeaway from it as well. Triple AP topside, usually just a cardinal sin in drafting in League of Legends, what Pentanet.gg put together, and they were fine. They won with it.
We are waiting for our interview. Well, we've actually got 2 interviews subjects coming in because they specifically requested to be on the couch. Yeah, please. Boys, come in. Have a seat. Now, I just want to point out that Chaz and Sully, welcome. Chaz, a couple of hours ago, tweeted and said, hopefully OPL allows a special exception for Sully to join me in my interview after he loses today.
Thanks.
Do you feel stupid now?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's fine though. Welcome, boys. Congratulations. I want to start. Why Sully? What's the connection here?
Well, we spent 2 months in Korea boot camping together, so we're pretty good friends. There's a bit of a rivalry going on. I don't know. Didn't really want to lose to him.
A lot of trash talk between us and AV and scrims,
Yeah.
So we just put it all on the line
Red in the
today.
bag.
Not just in scrims, public, on Twitter, to
facts.
me.
Who got the highest rank in Korea? Between both.
Come on, we know the answer to that question. No,
It was like
we got pretty
50
similar.
LP difference, I think.
Yeah, pretty
Oh,
similar.
okay. Very similar. Right.
Does this work? Is this?
Yeah. Every
Like
time you hold it to your mouth, it's working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I did.
It doesn't project into the room because then it would bounce back.
He was telling me he's a bit nervous. This is his first time on the couch.
That's all right.
He's got a bit of jitters. Your hands shaking?
That's okay.
I don't know.
They're not shaking. He's good.
That's okay. No, you got a buddy with you. It's all good. It's easier when there's 2.
So let's talk about the game.
Yep.
Let's start with, say, your point of view here, Sully, as Chaz was the one who wanted to be here with you. You've just played against Chaz. Is there anything you noticed in that game from him or from AV that stood out to you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like his Lucian's like super smurf. Like we lost to it last time we versed, and like it was something we were kind of worried about. But like even today, he was like far ahead. Like I'm pretty. What was your scoreline?
4-2.
Like he was like I'm pretty sure he was like 4-0 at one point or something like that, and it was just like we just had to figure out a way to win because it was great.
This
great
is
game.
very sweet that you're talking him up, but
Yeah.
do you want to offer some constructive criticism or just
like,
straight up insults?
When you build Hex Drinker, like you're kind of weak. No cap.
Triple AP topside building Hex Drinker. Yeah. That's terrible.
How was the game for you guys as well? Because back and forth, obviously, there's a healthy rivalry between you two, which is something good to see, in the scene.
Yeah, well, I think like so we played this comp like a lot. Not like exactly the champions, but the style, and this game was a lot slower paced than what we normally do. So I don't know if that was us playing slow or they just wanted to trade, which like we're just kind of trading everything, which is not how...
Yeah, we just opted into trading everything.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't win like early game, like first 15 minutes we knew like you guys had Hex Drinker, you're gonna win every fight pretty much, like double mercs, jungle top. So we just opt out of every fight until like Soul, and then
it was a cloud, so like it wasn't that relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like things were going well, and then it was just that one fight because like we had a lead obviously, but the later the game goes, like even the item advantage doesn't matter that much because it was like one item difference, half an item difference. Like because I built Hex Drinker, like my goal lead doesn't matter that much compared to Praetor, who's just going flat damage. So like in my opinion, we mis-executed the fight, which is why we lost. They probably think they smurfed on us, but like
no, you got outscaled.
I don't think we got outscaled. I just think we took the fight poorly because like their front line still was longer than our front line does. So when like their back line is just hitting the Elise and Set, they're dying when this guy's got like 2 stopwatches and there's a Shins running around. Like he's taking too much time to kill. And then like as soon as Praetor starts hitting me, like it's doomed. So yeah, we just didn't take it to the fights how we should have, I guess.
We should be sending all players on different teams to Korea together to
Yeah.
just like form friendships and then rip them apart.
This is the
over
best
course of a
interview
split.
ever. We just get to.
It's too
hang
easy.
out.
Well, well done, boys. Congratulations, Sully, on the win.
Thank you.
And I think this just goes to show that if you tweet at me and ask for something, pretty much you can get away with whatever you want on this show. So we'll be back right after this break.
Start things off with as does not connect. Firepan from that back line. He's going to slam dunk himself onto multiple members. Draku, if he had some magic resistance, may have lived to tell the tale, but he definitely preoccupied 4 members of Peninet. And now they are starting to run away with this one as Chaz comes on through with the gun, the cannon, the double kill. Lisa looks at a flash engage on the flank to get back. He turns around, actually, he might just get a solo kill, but Praetor is going to find a kill onto Appy. Solely goes golden. Predator was used, get back, finds that kill as well. This could be a turning point right now. The bullet time gets interrupted. Rogue is going to look to try and get amongst it. Draku has no ultimate, he can't do anything on this one. They just come straight in. They get a shutdown, that's a lot of gold, and onto Praetor most notably. It's the solo flare onto Praetor, but the Feather Storm completely negates that one. A free cleanse, a free turnaround. It's the AD carry show. Lisa has no one. Watch, they just burn through Gun Crab. Draku do whatever he can. There's just no follow-up damage. Everyone falls on down. It's the ace. It's the game. Peninet are very happy with that victory. And they're now good.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.